Today we're going to learn about patterns and how to figure out what the next terms or pictures in a pattern might be. First, I want to talk a little bit about what geometry is. Geometry is properties of points, lines, two-dimensional and three-dimensional figures. I know dimensional is spelled wrong, don't worry about it. The relationships between points, lines, and two- and three-dimensional figures. And the first unit we're starting with logic, which is proving your answer. So now that we know a little bit about what geometry is, let's take a look at a couple of patterns here. In example number 1, we want to determine the fourth figure and sketch it. We can see figure number 1 is a circle divided in half by a line segment. Figure number 2 is a circle divided by 2 line segments. Figure number 3 is a circle divided by 3 line segments. So what do we think figure 4 might be? That's right, it's a circle divided by 4 line segments. So you can see these are not too complicated. Example number 2, our first letter is A, then we have AB, then we have ABC. So if you know your alphabet, you can probably figure the next term is ABCD. And after that, we would have ABCDE. Now, those were some relatively easy patterns. Not every pattern is that easy. Here, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Here's another one that's not too complicated. Example 3, we've got a rectangle divided in half and the bottom is shaded. Figure 2, we have a rectangle that's got 2 segments dividing it. We shade the lower left-hand corner. Figure 3, it's now divided by 3 line segments into 6 quadrants where the lower left is shaded. And the fourth one, the one that we have to come up with, is a rectangle divided into 8 parts, and the lower left-hand corner is still shaded. Now for some more complicated patterns. This pattern, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. See if you can figure out the next 3 numbers in that pattern. We'll talk about that in class the next time we meet. And not all patterns deal with pictures or numbers. This one deals with letters. So here we start with the letters O, T, T, F. And we want to see if you can figure out what the next 3 letters are there. And again, we'll talk about that in class. But please try to figure them out before you get here. There are some definitions that you're going to need to know in this unit. The first one is conjecture. A conjecture is an unproven statement that is based on observations that you make. And an important thing to know about a conjecture is that to show a conjecture is true, you must show that it is true for all cases. It always has to be true. If there's one case where it's not true, then the conjecture is not true. And we've got a special name for that, which we'll get to in just a second. Inductive reasoning, which is what we're doing today, is finding a pattern in a specific situation and coming up with a conjecture. A counterexample is a case where a conjecture is false. So any counterexample you have, if it's only false one time, that's called a counterexample, and that means the entire conjecture is false. Now we're going to play a little game called Find the Counterexample. You guys are going to do that. Here are some statements. They're on your notes as well. I want you to go through and read those statements and find a counterexample to each one. And again, we will talk about that in class the next time we meet. That is all for your notes today, and we will see you in class.